Dying Light is about parkour and a lot of zombies, which means today we'll look for something similar, preferably with the words death and light in the title. By the way, that's not a joke, I really know a game like that. Before Dying Light, Techland made another zombie game, Dead Island. As you may guess, they have a lot in common. Dead Island is basically an early version of Dying Light, without the parkour, but a similar melee-focused combat system, progression, and breakable weapons that become useless after several fights. It also has a really cool setting, a tropical resort where everything went wrong. The contrast between the heavenly location and constant slaughter with dozens of enemies make it even crazier. Just don't expect Dead Island to be a horror. The game is mostly just trashy fun for single player or co-op. The collector's edition of the Riptide expansion had this figurine that perfectly describes what you might expect from Dead Island. The sequel, Dead Island 2, was supposed to be released the same year as Dying Light, but got stuck in the production hell and has been in limbo for the past 7 years. Now, on to the parkour part. I bet you expect to hear about one of the Assassin's Creed games, but no, today we'll do without them. First-person parkour existed long before Dying Light. The game that did it most famously was Mirror's Edge. The idea was further developed by the second game, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which wasn't a sequel but a reboot of the series. Mirror's Edge's story is not the most exciting part of the game. The most important aspects are the feel of the character and the cool design. The protagonist, Faith, rushes down the city's roofs, jumps ropes, pushes herself off walls, does somersaults. It feels and looks very cool. You can reach almost any point by several ways. The city's design also adds to the beauty. It's a sterile, dystopian megalopolis that resembles a huge office space. So if you want cool first-person parkour but without the hordes of zombies, grab Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Just don't bother engaging with the enemies too much. They're very stupid and fighting them is boring. It's better to just jump over them and keep on running. Days Gone is considered to be one of the most unsuccessful PlayStation exclusives of recent years. Yes, when it was released, the game had plenty of technical issues. They were fixed quickly, but apparently the first impression was enough to make the game a failure in players' minds. Actually, it's a cool zombie action with one main feature. I'm talking about fighting the Horde. When you meet single zombies in the open world, they pose no real threat. But once you get to their lair, hundreds of zombies turn into a roaring sea. It's both scary and fascinating. It's also an interesting mechanic. You can't just shoot everyone, you'll run out of ammo. You need to set traps, blow up barrels, and run away a lot. Many missed Days Gone, but I really recommend it. This game has a beautiful open world, an interesting story, and very cool bike riding. There's just one major issue. Days Gone is too long. They should have stopped at one big region, but the devs decided to make another one. One game that certainly has zombies? Zombie, but without the E. Originally it was called ZombiU, and was a Wii U exclusive, but let's be honest, no one had that console. After being released on other platforms, the game lost the U in the name, but at least found some players. And it was an interesting experience. Zombie is a first-person survival horror set in a London overrun by zombies. Each character only has one life. If your character dies, you can't play them anymore. You get a new starter protagonist, while all the inventory remains on the body of the previous one. If you want to get your cricket bat back, you'll have to go and kill the previous character who has already turned into a zombie. Like in Dying Light, your main weapons are bats, sticks, and pipes. They make less sound and are easier to find than ammo. Firearms are only used as a last resort. And yes, if the previous game lacked horror, Zombie will make up for it. It's not the scariest game in the world, but it constantly keeps you alert and forces you into locations where you can barely see a thing. And sometimes, the scariest thing about this game is its graphics. What can I say, the Wii U had poor hardware. So what else did you expect? But that actually makes it even scarier. In the beginning, I said I know another game about parkour and zombies that has the words death and light in the title. Its time has come. Deadlight. Not to be confused with Dead by Daylight or Dying Light. You know, it's the mid-2010s when you had Hearthstone, Hearts of Stone, and Heart of the Swarm. But the similarity between Deadlight and Dying Light doesn't stop there. Yes, it's a platformer with a side view, but it's also set in a zombie apocalypse. The protagonist has a stamina bar that only lasts a few hits, he can do a little parkour, and he fights zombies mostly using the tools at hand. Basically, a miniature Dying Light. Check out Deadlight, you won't regret it. The game won't take long, you can finish it in one evening, the game has great atmosphere, and check out how it uses perspective. There's always something going on in the foreground and background, which makes the flat image look three-dimensional. Tell us in the comments about your favorite zombie games. This has been Hello Arcade, hit the like, ring that bell, and come back for more.